Welcome to the Ave Podcast with Cal C on South Sharav Radio.
Welcome to the live stream edition of the Ave Podcast. We back at it. Live and in full effect. Thank you for joining. This is going to be a really quick one about Game 4. We'll do the regular one on Tuesday after Game 5 of the NBA Finals. But first off, thank you for my guest that's hopping on today, South Sharav, family member, COO of Team Lightskin, and founder of Red Rush, Ontario's AAU program with the Cunningham, running like Cunningham. Please welcome Mr. Randall Walter to the show. How you doing today, sir?
Scrambled like Randall did his. Cunningham. We about to talk about NBA numbers, man.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? See, we back at it.
And look, I'm good, man. I'm good. So I guess the delay between podcasts recently, just in case some people out there may catch this after, but it was due to a huge figure in my family passing away. Rest in peace to my mother. We had to lay to rest last week. This has been a crazy process, but we can get into that after. But this is the first podcast I've done, since she's passed. So just wanted to get back into it. But man, I tell you, this finals, I know the NBA may not like it because of the ratings on linear TV. But if you're a hooper, if you're a fan of basketball, I don't see how you don't like this series. I really don't see how.
A lot of parity.
What are your thoughts on this game in this series so far?
Man, great parity, man. You know what I mean? Obviously, everybody thought that OKC had it in the bag. But I'll tell you, the Pacers, this whole playoff run have been extremely impressive, extremely entertaining. Yeah. Candidly, it's funny because they both have somewhat similar styles. So it's a fast-paced game, high points, and honestly, every game has been kind of the outcome has been told in the fourth quarter, right? So whoever has the most legs, whoever has the most star power or firepower, grit on D wins, right? So we can't ask for anything more as hoopers or basketball fans. But like you said, two markets that aren't the fave of a lot of folks. So, the telltale is, I think they said in Game 3, the ratings started to spike, but they're still behind.
Yeah, it's still way behind. They said it's even lower than when the Raptors were in the finals.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it was lower, but you know what? The Canadian numbers take into were they also
consolidated? That's the problem. It doesn't count.
Right. So I mean, I believe like when the Raps were in the playoffs, it was all-time high of viewership in Canada. So if you'd have combined those numbers, I'm sure. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's interesting because I think Indiana has the 25th largest TV market in the U.S. and OKC is 44th. So it's pretty crazy how low that is. But at the same time, though, again, man, you got to respect the fact that these two teams are, no matter the market, no matter the time, no matter the weather, no matter the place, they are coming at each other like this is some like 90s 2000s basketball. And what and with this series now that it's tied at 2, I had my prediction that I guess going into this series, obviously I wasn't recording this, but going into the series I thought for sure that OKC would win in 6. Just because the way Indiana's been playing, I was giving them at least 2 games. I was going to give them 2 games just because I was like, this is not a fluke, because ever since January 1st, these guys have been literally maybe like the 3rd best team in the NBA record-wise. You know what I mean? Like since January 1st, they just had a slow start to start the season. Oh, Halliburton didn't start off well. You know, I think everybody was still kind of trying to figure out, playing with each other and stuff. But like after January 1st, like once the calendar flipped to 2025, man, they have been on it from jump. And this is not a fluke. Like watching them take down Milwaukee, watching them take down Cleveland the way they did, because I mean they took Cleveland down in 5. And,
is that kind of fool's gold, though, see? Is that kind of fool's gold? Because, I mean, I'm not saying that Cleveland played well, but Cleveland was also riddled with injuries. Milwaukee lost Dane, and really didn't have Dane for most of the series even before that. I mean, I'm not trying to take everything away from them. Yeah. But I was talking to my son about it, right? Like, when Boston lost, he's a huge Celtics fan, and I'm like, look, man, imagine if Boston was healthy, and he kind of just looked at me. He goes, in the NBA, it's all about health, right? So that's what it's about. It's the healthiest team wins, and they're healthy, and you called it. Since January, these guys they really, they turn things around. I think a lot, again, comes with health. Yeah. Right. I know Halliburton, Halliburton, he was a little bit, I don't know if he was injured or they were saying that during the summer he was kind of playing a little bit too much ball. So he was kind of catching his sea legs. Right. Siakam, getting acclimated, really that he spent the second half of the year, kind of getting used to things going into the beginning of the year. But like you said, this team is all gears are running, right? You know what I'm so impressive about this team? See, I was watching today, the ball movement, man, selfless. The ball just hums, ding, 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 bucket,
man,
ding,
it's
ding,
incredible.
ding, incredible.
And it's the ball. You know what's great about them though? Win or lose, like I tip my cat in the standing ovation for the Pacers, whether they win the finals or not, because the way they, to your point, it's not even just the fact that they're moving the ball. It's how moving the ball. It's how they're moving without the ball, like back screens, cuts, triple cuts, like they're like extended pin downs, like Randall, like they're just. Some of the movement that you're watching in this game, this is what it's such a departure from the 3-and-D ball that we've been used to, I guess, the last few years have been forced down our throats, like watching 35, 43s a game, and everything is within the flow. Everybody's cutting, everybody's rebounding, everybody's running the floor. They're aggressive, taking it to the basket. They're trying to get fouls. When they get opportunities to when they get wide open looks, they're making them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't think Indiana was gonna take it to the OKC like this, man. And like halfway through this game, I was like, not even halfway through, like halfway through the fourth quarter, I was sitting there like, man, I don't care what happens from here on out, man. The Pacers got my respect. They really do. They really do, man. And I mean, and this is with Halliburton. I mean, he had an okay game. He didn't play as he had a decent game. He played better than game 3. And, they didn't get anything from Mathurin today. But the way this team is playing is like death by 1,000 cuts. I tell you what, though, Randall, like what I like about this series especially, and I think today's game was a reflection of it. They have a chance because you know how the NBA is. It's a copycat league. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like whoever wins, whoever makes the finals, within the next year or two, everybody's copying their style, right? And I feel like the way these two teams are playing and the way that it's exciting and like it's almost like a pick 'em, they're evenly matched. I feel like maybe we're gonna regress back to the mean a little bit, and it's gonna look like basketball should look like. This whole playoffs has been great, you know what I mean? But like taking the 45 to 53s. I'm sorry, I don't think that's like evolutionary. I know what they say, the analytics, and I get all that. But you to me, I'm always, maybe this is the old school person in me, but I'm still like, you have to still be a factor on all areas of the floor. And I'm like, and they've gotten away from that so much in the last few years. So to watch like the way the Pacers play, it's a breath of fresh air.
Well, yeah, you couldn't have said any better. I mean, you know, it's the pace also that the both teams play with that's impressive. You know, just focusing on this game, right? Like the Pacers, offensively and defensively, the pressure stifled. You know, they're stifling, right? And they stifle the Thunder in the first three quarters. But just as the Pacers, and we've seen it, man. It's been like some great storylines and kind of storybook endings with the Pacers, right? And they play like for all four quarters, full out, right to the final buzzer. You know, and as they keep playing to that final buzzer, then the Thunder, they did the same, right? And in a game that looked like, honestly, I thought they were going to lose, right? I was looking at one point, I'm like, it was good. I remember when Siakam got that and one, I'm like, ooh, right at the midway through the third, right? I was like, it's not looking good. I mean, Indiana took right up top of my head, I think it was a 103-99 lead with around 3 minutes left, remaining in the fourth, right? I mean, it didn't look good, right? And I don't even think they made a field goal for the rest of the game. And this is where, you see it for a young team, the poise that the Thunder have. It's remarkable. And when in our era, right? It was an era riddled by superstars that really, like, when crunch time comes, who's touching that rock, right? And like you said, like, I mean, candidly, I'm not a fan of this whole just run down the court, shoot threes like Boston, right? Like, I don't give a crap what Boston fans say. Shout out to all my Beantown heads, but fuck the Celtics. Fuck that style. I'm with you. And I was so, watching Shea, just take over that game was magical. I mean, 35 points. I mean, he just finds a way to get to that line. I know everyone calls him a free throw merchant, but I mean, that's smart, right? He's so crafty, and his footwork. Do you see that one where he got Naismith fouled out? I think that changed the whole game.
It did.
Right? And how masterfully, he did that by, he set up that high pick and it was like a pick and pop where they had the switch, because Nembhard, another, shout out to all my Canadian, we had Shea, you got it, man. Shea going to work, Nembhard going to work. Man, next pod I gotta wear my Canadian joints too, man. But I'll tell you, that switch, crazy. He knew right away, and I'll give it to Nembhard. Nembhard, even though Shea at that time had around 29 points, I'm telling you, Nembhard he played he's been great playoff run, breakout season. I know last year they say it was, but this was really his coming to Jesus moment, like this whole playoff, right? And
especially defensively.
Oh, crazy, right? I mean, for the amount of shots Shea takes, I mean, he slowed them down. Let's be honest, right? And they basically had this game in the bag all the way up to the right to the end of the fourth. I really liked also, Jalen Williams stepped up. I think his erratic play at times, Shea can't do it all. So Shea can score 30 points a game, but he needs that supporting cast. And I find when Jalen Williams, he's not a shooter, but when he's aggressive, he's not settling for that.
That was a big difference in the game too.
Right. And I still think that they got to get a little more offensive output out of Chet, right? I know Chet's had a great, playoff series, but he has to be more consistent as well, especially scoring, right? He's rebounding a little bit better this playoffs. He got to get bigger and stronger, but I think the X factor for them was Caruso this series.
Yeah, Jalen Williams set the tone from jump. Like he wasn't settling for shots. He was just going right. He was getting right to it. And I think that was like the big difference in the game because Shea finished the game well, but I didn't think he had a great game, even though the stats, being that he scored 35. But I mean, he got the chunk of that in the fourth. But I mean, I felt like he was playing into the Pacers' strengths defensively because they were kind of setting up that Giannis wall for him, and he was still taking those shots. I mean, mind you, he's very efficient, but I mean, the fact that they won this game and he had 0 assists, I'm sure that's even bothering him. You know what I mean? Because I know he's not a selfish type of player, even though he scores a lot of points. You know what I mean? So I can see the next game he's going to probably make it a bit more effort to try to get everybody to rock a little bit more. Because I mean, otherwise guys are just watching, right?
Great point.
It has a bit of an impact, but I feel like Jalen Williams, I think if not for his consistency throughout this game, I think the Pacers are up 3-1 because you could see where the Pacers could have gotten away with it, and he just kept them in the game, kept going to the line, kept getting Neesmith in foul trouble, kept getting Shepard in foul trouble. You can see where like he just kept going right from the jump. I was impressed with him tonight. Like he played well. He played really well today. He's a third team All NBA player. As a third team All NBA player should, right?
Yeah. What were your thoughts on Siakam?
Today, and this is the thing with Siakam too. It's like this is why this is a perfect team for him. I know he had look at the stats here. He had 20, 5 assists, 5 steals.
Yeah.
I mean, he only took 15 shots. I would like him to take about maybe anywhere from 3 to 5 more. But on a team like this, though, this is why this team is perfect for him because, when he was on the Raptors, especially after Kawhi left, it was like it was above his pay grade. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't meant to be the number one guy. Like not in a traditional sense. You know what I mean? But with this kind of like death by 1,000 cuts team, you know what I mean? Where they got like they're playing like 10, sometimes 11 deep. Like some nights it's gonna be his night. Some nights it might be Halliburton's night. Some nights it might be Matherman's night. Some nights it might be Nembhard's or Miles Turner. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't always have to get 20, 25 for it to be a good night for him. Like they even say throughout the year they don't even really run plays for him.
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
And he's still getting to it. Yeah, like they don't even really run a lot of plays for him. But I think what's cool about it is that like he doesn't have that responsibility of I got to score 25 every night. So like a game like this is not shocking that he went down to 20 because that's kind of been the MO all season. Like he may have a big game the next game, or he may drop 30 the next game. But like a team like this, where the number one, I mean they don't have a superstar on the team. I know Halliburton's like an All NBA player 2-time now, but he's not necessarily a superstar. But he's one of those. It's kind of like a kid or like a Nash, where it's like he's their best player, but it doesn't mean that he's their best. Like he's their number one scorer. Like he's trying to get everybody involved, make everybody better. Like if he's getting about 20 points, 18 to 20 points, he's got about 10, 12 assists and doing everything. That's the strength of his game. And somebody like Siakam, it's a perfect team to play for. So tonight, like I'm not, it's kind of par for the course. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I see. But I do think that, the one criticism I do have for Halliburton, despite he's had that clutch gene throughout this playoff run, is that there are games that he just disappears.
Yeah.
Right. And I think you're right. He could have averaged, if you look at it from a numbers perspective, he kind of affects the game in all types of different facets, right, across the box score. But I do think there's times outside of him taking the final couple shots, he needs to kind of the filler in between the games sometimes is a little lacking. And it's not, and really and honestly, it's, they do throw waves of players at you, but sometimes he's on the court with 4 other bench players. And I'm not downplaying their capabilities or their talents. but there's times he needs to take more shots.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't disagree with that.
You know what I mean? And I remember even Reggie was saying that, right? Reggie Miller,
Yeah.
he's like, look, like, great. Remember that one? Look, I think the last time he hit that buzzer shot, great. Where were you in the other 3 quarters, right? Like, you could have helped not get us to that point. So, I mean, I'm being a little critical on him. I candidly, I know we're bigging up the Pacers. I think they overachieved. I think, part of basketball, like we said, there is a little bit of pixie dust and luck that's kind of falls into play, and we saw when the Raps won, it was kind of the same, right? But let's be honest. OKC's the better squad.
But
on paper.
On paper. Styles make fights, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
Styles make fights, man. So that's what we're seeing here. It's like it's the contrast of styles is making for a great series, and they're at the point of the series where it's like they're kind of tired of each other. You know what I mean? Like you saw it get a lot more chippy. It's probably the most chippy type of game out of the finals so far. But it's right at that point, right, where it's like game middle of the series. It's like I'm tired of seeing your green shirt and your hat. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I want to slap it off your head now. Like that's where it's getting to that point. Like, yo, I want to scratch that Muhammad Ali jersey right off of Calvin's back. You know what I mean? Like it's getting to that point. He's getting tired of each other. Look at Nemhard and Shea. Like, like they're throwing little elbows at each other and stuff. Like they're getting after it. I love it. I love it though. I love it.
Did you find that when Mathurin came in, he didn't do a great job? He had some stupid fouls, and I just feel like he wasn't like, not that missed some free throws. Just I don't know if the moment was too big for him.
Which is interesting because he had such a big game the last game too.
Right.
Like the last couple of games, he kind of unlocked himself offensively. But yeah, I think I don't know what it was. If it was a lack of focus, but he just wasn't there today. And they need him on that team. Like if he's consistent, like the way they have OKC going, if he's consistent, they're probably not going to lose this series. You know what I mean? Like if he's coming off the bench giving you like 15 to 20. I mean, he averaged 17 a game this year, so it's not like out of the realm for him to do.
Even Obi Toppin.
And we see how much he had today. Today he had 8. He had 8 points.
Yeah.
I think on one of two shooting actually.
Yeah, his production is all predicated on how much time he plays. Right. So if he gets
to your point, he only played 13 minutes tonight.
Yeah.
So that's not enough either.
Nah. So even during the regular season, when he played, he was a bucket. But it's all again. Like I do think despite all the talent he has, I do think there's times that on the court, Mr. Simon's maturity, kind of shot selection, all that comes into play, right? So, if he's going to start wilding out and doing his own thing, if you have that erratic play, I don't know if Carlisle has that much trust sometimes in him. And I'm just talking out loud. I hear this. I'm just speculating, right, from what I've seen throughout the season. But definitely, like you said, him, Obi Toppin, and I think one of the unsung heroes is white boy point guard, slipped my.
Oh, McConnell.
Who's that, sir?
McConnell, TJ.
Yeah, TJ McConnell. Yeah. He's one of those guys like that's underrated, right?
Yeah, he's solid everywhere he's been too.
Solid, yeah, solid cat, right? He don't pass the eye test. He looks like he could be, your mailman.
Or your accountant.
Your accountant, yeah, one of the two, yeah. But he can go. He can go.
No, he could definitely go. Who would you say is the MVP of the series so far? I actually think it's Rick Carlisle, but I want to hear what your thoughts are.
Rick Carlisle. I mean, Shay, man.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He's the engine. You know what I'm saying? If they like, he should,
Mhm.
Shea's drop. He has to drop like 25 plus 30 for them to win, and he's consistent
Yeah.
at. When was the last time you seen someone that consistent at dropping buckets consistently and winning?
Um. Oh, I got one. I got one for you.
Ooh, Giannis?
Remember that? Remember that the last guy with braids? He played for a Canadian team about 6 years ago.
Last guy with. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But you want to know something? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Come on now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, but
yeah.
honestly, since then, like I probably say the best mid-range game since that guy was last year. Like on a consistent like championship level basis. Like I mean, I love DeMar, but like it's not on a championship level basis where it's a consistent. I'm gonna get you 30, and I'm gonna hit you with these 7 to 10 mid-range shots. Like once he gets in the paint, that's a secret sauce. Like he doesn't miss. It's either a foul or a basket. He doesn't miss. Like the opportunities are not missed once he gets his foot in the paint.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it
So
becomes a
fast.
post game for him. Yeah, super crafty. He's hard to guard, man. He's hard to guard,
And he plays at such a great pace. Like his pace is.
man.
You
I
know
love
what's
that
crazy?
guy, man. Like
You know,
that's my favorite. That's like honestly, I think he's become my favorite player in the league. But
yeah.
like the last game, it's funny when I was watching Game 3, I was kind of like he needed to. I think he ended up with 24, and I'm like that was a game he needed to get about 35. Like that was a game he needs to get like his average is 34, but he needs to get like his season average. You know what I mean? Just for them to win, because it wasn't 24 from, you know, you're gonna have off games in the finals. Not every game you play as a superstar is perfect, but like you could see like, okay, like that was a game, like, you know, there's some games where it's like you need to go off tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Get that
yeah,
2-1 lead.
yeah.
Let's put that stamp, and it was like he was just missing something. And today, like I said, it was honestly, to me, it was kind of feeling that way again until the fourth quarter, like halfway through the fourth, and he woke up.
You know what's crazy is my mind just went back to the bubble when he was in the bubble. You remember the one thing that I always like his offense has never been an issue. But remember how bad his D was? Remember they were ISO in him? It was bad. Like they were like, let's ISO him. Look at him now. He had a few defensive lapses today. Nothing detriment because the guy doesn't get off the court. He's like an Iron Man, right? So yeah, like, you know, I'm like TJ McConnell. He kind of blew by him one time for a bucket, and that was unacceptable. But outside of, you know, one or two of those plays, he's really like locked in, right? I wouldn't say he's a weak spot. So that's another part of his game, and we glorify what he does offensively, but defensively, man, he's been impressive. So yeah, you're right.
No, super impressive. And honestly, like I know Halliburton got him on a few drives tonight too, but then he had a big block on Halliburton's 3. You know, at the end there too. Like you can't isolate him anymore.
Nope.
You know, like it's gotten to that point now where it's like you can't be like, let's go at him. Like you can't do that anymore. Like he's a well enough defender now. He'll block your shot. He'll pick your pocket. You know what I mean? Like he may not be the greatest defender on a team that's full of dogs defensively, especially our man Dort. You know, but you can't just be like, oh, switch off. Let's pick and roll and let's get him and take him. That doesn't work anymore. You know.
Now you said you alluded to Carlisle. Elaborate on Mr. Carlisle.
I feel like up until, I mean, this is a pretty evenly matched series, but I feel like he's been out coaching Daniel like this series. Just with the way he's gotten them to play, he's put them in uncomfortable spots. And I mean, and we shouldn't be shocked at that because Carlisle's a very good coach. He's a vet. He's already won a championship. And he did it in a similar way where it was like he kind of like confused the favorite. You know what I mean? And it's like, so this shouldn't be a shot. It's not a shot at Daniel at all. It's like Daniel's in his first NBA Finals, and you know what I mean. That there's times where it's like, yeah, he's showing that he's like, yeah, I might have made a mistake here. I might have put the wrong lineup here. You know what I mean? I did the wrong substitution patterns here, or the wrong play. Whereas Carlisle is like pedal to the metal, and he's scheming up his squad, man. Like it's super impressive, man. It's super impressive. I thought he's been the MVP of, like, because he's like him and his coaching staff has basically they've made the Pacers implement everything they put on the floor right now, give or take, you know, other than like game 2. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing to argue about with when it comes to that. But again, it's not like it's unexpected. You know what I mean? Like, again, he's been there. He's already been there. He's already a champion. He's been there. He's a vet.
Yeah, he's putting his players in the like his talent in the best positions to succeed. Right?
Absolutely.
And you're kind of right. I'm thinking about it now. It seems like you know, if they're playing chess, like OKC's chasing them, right? So the game plan isn't like normally you go back and forth. It always seems like OKC's chasing them. We got to beat them. Like you hear even Shea at post game, he's like, "Oh, we got to do everything. We got to leave it out on the court," rather than being like, "Look, we got to take control, right? And they got to keep up with us." It's like the opposite way around, right? So interesting you say that. Yeah, I mean, I never thought of it in that perspective, but you're right. Carlisle's done he's done an amazing job, you know, throughout the playoffs. And I feel like they got in, right, at a decent spot. Mm-hmm. They probably throughout the season, because during the regular season, I felt that they were kind of floating under the radar, right?
They were.
And you said it, right? Because I remember when they kind of went on a little bit of a hot streak, really, like after January, and you talked about that earlier. And people were like, "Are we sleeping on these guys?" And everyone's like, no one's scared of them. Look at them now. And all that was strategically, you know, building the bench, putting other guys in positions. So when this time comes, right, like Halliburton has been one of the guys that shine, but, you know, Pascal has. We've seen every player have moments on that squad, not just, you know, maybe Halliburton gets the headlines for finishing the games, but throughout the games, there have been some great plays. Even today, there was a lot of wild plays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've been impressed with Obi. And the guy we haven't even talked about at all, and I've always liked his game. He's not the most athletic big, but Miles Turner, man. Like, I like him. I like him because he's not the best rebounder, but he helps spread the floor, and and he protects the rim, right? And he keeps up with the pace of how they go, right? So I mean, and he's a good passer for a big as well, underrated.
Yeah, I wish he rebounded more though, man. I'm looking at his right now. He had 2 boards today.
Well,
like that's
but
he's never been a strong rebounder though.
Well, he hasn't been a strong rebounder because a lot of the time he's at the 3-point line.
You're right.
So
even defending,
you know what I mean? He's been So it's hard for him to, you know what I mean? Vice versa on offense, right? Mm-hmm. But you're right. I still think that he should be rebounding more. And it's funny for a guy that gets all those blocks.
I know.
He doesn't get off the floor. He's not super athletic, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the knock on him is, you know, he has a knack for blocking shots, but he doesn't have a knack for rebounding, right? And you kind of need that. He would pair well next to a Giannis.
Yeah. Well, two things before we cut out of here. Man, again, I'm wearing the Canadian. This is a Canadian style snapback to represent the 4 Canadians that are in the finals. What are your thoughts on those guys, especially being a coach on the scene right now? Because I'm super proud of these guys, man. Like,
or it's a genesis of Canadian basketball, right? And it's been the storyline. Everybody's talking about it, right? Like, just I think everyone kind of sits back and are talking about who are the major influencers in this series, right? And you look at it and you say, shoot, the best player in this series is Canadian, right?
Yep.
The best defender in this series is Canadian, right?
Yep.
The second best defender in this series is Canadian, right?
Right.
And then you got the best bench scorer in this series is Canadian.
Yep.
So when you look at the storyline and everyone's peeling back the layers of the onion, it brings up the conversation, and we've talked about this several times, like how the rise of Canada basketball, right? And I think like, we're just scratching the surface. Like, this is we have now. I mean, Shea will be kind of he'll be rolling into the face of the NBA, I presume. And on top of that, we still got some talent coming up.
Yep.
Right. So, the fact that we got 4 Canadians, at one point I was even telling my wife doesn't watch it, and she even knows, who's who. Right. And she's like, damn, 30%. Think about 30% of the starters on the floor at tip off were red and white. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, like, I'm so happy for all of them, honestly and truly. And I think that's why, even though I don't have a dog in this fight, I do want to see Shea win, because I'm like, just to cap off the year that he had. You know what I mean? That's so important for Canadian basketball as well, because, for the guy to win MVP and be the first Canadian MVP to go to a final, you know what I mean? And he might get the finals MVP and win a ring, like, all in the same year. That's never happened before. Like, he's pushing the envelope further than so I just want the journey to be complete in that manner. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And yes, it would take away from 2 other Canadians getting their first rings too. But I feel like that storyline there is like, we kind of need that for history. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see that for him, where it's like he's taking it to a place that's never happened in Canadian basketball. I'm like, you want to see that. And then Dort, I mean, like, we watched him in high school. You know what I mean? He pretty much had an NBA body from the 11th grade, it looked like.
Linebacker.
You know what I mean? Like, was that? Yeah. He could have easily put on pads. He could have easily put on pads and been a middle linebacker. Easily. But with that said, like, his progressions as a defender has been amazing, because we didn't necessarily see that coming out of high school or college. But the way that he can hit those threes now, it's like it went from, leave that guy open to, oh my God, he's going to make that. Oh man, he's open again. Like, for it to flip to that way, like, I think that's a beautiful story, and it's testament to his hard work. And then, like, Nembhard, undrafted player, or second round pick, not undrafted, but second round pick. And look where he's taking his life right now. His brothers look like he's about to come and do some work, and we'll see where he gets drafted, or if he does, even if he doesn't get drafted, some team is going to pick him up. You know what I mean? Because, like, I think he led the nation in assist to turnover ratio or something like that in the nation last year at Gonzaga. And then you got Mathurin, who was, his pedigree is heavy. He was lottery pick, but he's still young. But man, like, the guy's got a lot of talent. Like, his future is still very bright. So the fact that, like, this is just a representation in all different corners, you know what I mean? The 4 different paths, but it's all leading to the same direction, which is representing the red and white, man. Like, I think this is a beautiful representation for what we're seeing now. It's like the reflection is here. Like, we're seeing the next stop has to be the Olympics, of course, but I think even that is probably coming down the pipeline too, because, like, last Olympics, they lost to France. I don't think it was a lack of talent. I just think they weren't big enough. France is a big team. Mm-hmm. I think France, France and all the listeners, I think France is coming for everybody. But that's a big squad. You know what I mean? So I think that's where Canada wasn't a big squad. Whereas, Edie in a couple of years is gonna be, like more comfortable. There's other guys coming, as you said. So, so to see this story, Randall, I'm like, I'm super proud, man. I'm super proud to see where this is going. But like I said, I'm not rooting for OKC, but I just want Shea to complete the journey. You know what I mean? To make history in that fashion, man.
You know what? Even kind of a spinoff to all this too is it's interesting to kind of now see Shea's dad in the media.
Toronto man, stand-up guy.
He's a true Toronto man.
Mans.
Yo, I just saw he was doing a podcast with Jeff Teague, and I guess
I saw that. I didn't get a chance to see it.
God, this man said, "See, he's a clown." He said, because I guess Jeff, he's like, you guys are fathers, and he's like, "Why I have?" And Jeff's like, "Well, me not yet. We're trying to get it." He's like, "You don't have one? What, are you having problems?" He goes, Let me breed up your girl. I'll turn. You can have an MVP kid with my genes, and I'll train him." Yo, I'll be honest. Jeff Teague was laughing it off, but you can see, like, like Arthur the fist, the ball fist, like, the meme with Arthur. You can see Jeff Teague like, but really, Hulk smash, or Seinfeld. George is getting mad.
Oh, that's crazy.
Remember Hits from the Street? You be the judge.
But I have some family members that grew up with him and his sister, actually, from back in the day. So they're always like repping, like, yo, he's good peoples, and I think they're very proud of him as well. But he's a Toronto man through and through, man. Like, I'm like, get it, man. Get it.
My man,
get it.
My man is everywhere now, balling it up. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, I'm up in the shades, Dad. He's in the streets. He's outside.
Mm-hmm. He's outside.
He's outside. And you know what I like about him?
Let him be outside.
You know what I like about him? He doesn't switch it up.
Nope.
He's a Toronto man through and through.
Through and through, man. Like I said, I said, let him be proud, man. Let him be happy. If we can let John Halliburton go crazy and stepping on the court, like, this ain't even that big of a deal.
No.
Well, I mean, let's tease comments though. I don't know about that. But
that was kind of reckless. You know what I mean? That's kind of reckless. Wild. Like, we just talking to talk, but outside of that, wow. Very proud of Shea. And a little bit of even prouder of the fact he got a little bit of, you know what I mean, with that the madness in him, little Antiguan blood. So,
yeah, rep that. I didn't know that till the other day when I sent you that clip. I was like, I didn't know. I didn't know she was Antiguan.
Yeah, I knew that. And I believe, I don't know if it's on the mother's side, but I believe also, is it the Alexander side that's Antigua? I think, what's his cousin? He might have some blood too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that might be Jamaican. I'm not sure what the blend is. It might be Jamaican. I know the.
No, it's Jamaican, but I'm
Jamaican.
saying,
so, like,
is the relationship on the mother's side?
Yeah, it's on the mother's side.
Yeah,
the cousin. So I think Nikhil's mother and Shay's father are brother and sister.
Okay.
I think that's how that works. Yeah, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that's how that goes down. But yeah, but we'll wrap this up and come back up on Tuesday. To hit you with another episode. But man, Randall, just to wrap up, I know I don't got to say thank you, but thank you for coming, to my mom's funeral. And I'll just share this quick story. When I saw you, when you pulled up, man, I almost cried when I saw you, because I was like, all I thought about was like, as soon as I saw you, and of course I see you plenty of times, but when I saw you, I just flicked back to the house with the cartwheels. You know what I mean? It's like I just saw my whole childhood, like literally walked through the door.
Yep. Literally. And for those who don't know, C's mom, I used to go to this crib from birth.
Yep.
And every Sunday. So those who don't know, I used to go every Sunday with my pops and fam. We stop in because his mom used to throw down every Sunday. So conveniently, we would come from church and find a way to stop and you know what I mean. In you know how kids when they're growing up and kids love McDonald's. We love going to Auntie Torres' house because she was smacking up them rotis. You know what I mean? Cooking up the good food. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. We're gonna miss, your mom Dukes. More than a mom to me. You did more than a mom. More than your mother, like an aunt to me, right? So, it's we all felt that one. But like you said, and you had a very eloquent, sweet speech. The legacy lives on through you. And through all the offsprings going down. So the Celestine family is blessed with some good ones, and you know what I mean. I really truly hope that the next time we're talking about all these talented Canadians coming up. I didn't have a chance to chop it up with your nephew, but big moves coming on that way, and he's blessed with the Celestine ball genes, and let's just see what pops off, and hopefully, you know what I mean, you'll be the crazy Toronto man's, uncle. So I'll have to take over the podcast while C's out there in the finals.
just talking reckless on everybody's podcast.
Your wife D's like, I don't know him. I don't know him. Shout out to
this talk is super reckless, and also shout out to also my nephew Terrell too, because he's pursuing that career. I want to shout him out. He's pursuing that career, trying to be a head coach one day, and he's pursuing his career in the college ranks right now. So I'm looking at that progress too, and he was a former D1 player himself too. So I'm taking, very, very. I'm taking a look at that, and I'm very proud. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, these guys are trying to live their dream, man. So, and that's honestly what I talked about too. Like the eulogy, like that's a reflection of that's how we move it forward. Same with your parents, man. You know what I mean? All of us are like the descendants of our parents coming from another country, small island, trying to make it, grass is green on the other side, trying to make it and trying to find their way in the next journey of life, trying to make our lives better. Mm-hmm. And it's up to us to make it, to not just do things like what we're doing now, but like we're trying to take this further. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We're trying to take this as far as we can and make sure the kids do the same. That's how we honor our parents, and like for me, like honor my mom, and like that's how we do it going forward. So shout out to them, and thank you for that. But shout out to them, and also I really and truly thought too that we were cousins up until literally until about 8-9 years old, because you was at our house that much. You were at our house more than my family, more than my cousins.
Yep.
Straight up.
But
straight up.
I mean, like you said, and your cousin Terrell, I got bone to pick with him if he's listening to this podcast, because that man's supposed to holler back at me. So now you know what the family ties is. Don't be playing me, Playboy.
Yeah, we'll get on him for that.
Don't let me catch you in these streets, Playboy.
We'll get on him. We'll get on him for that. We'll get on him for that.
That wasn't a good meme, but yeah, I mean, try.
That's all good. All right, brother. Thank you, man, for hopping on this quick live stream, man, and we can get back on this later in the week.
Yep. Before we get off, shout out to all my boys out in Red Rush. Tune in, lock in, subscribe. You know what I mean? On all avenues that's streaming. As well, so a lot of heads been requesting a pod. See, So a lot of you don't know, this is my man Calvin C, right? Cal C. He runs this podcast, not me. He is the alpha and omega of South Shore Ave. I am just a humbled servant jumping on and blessed to be on here. So if you guys want a pod of, you know what I mean, the state of youth basketball in Canada, particularly in
We can do
Ontario,
that.
and you want me on it, I do not run it, you need to holler at him. Because, see, I've been getting hit up. I got at least about 4 or 5 messages saying, hey, you gotta do something like this. So the demands are in, right? And we putting that out there, and eventually we'll have to do that, right? So
100%.
You know, stay tuned.
100%.
We got.
I don't like T's comments. I don't like T's comments there talking about he don't like them Canadians repping right now the way they repping. I'm like, okay, all right.
We got it. Well, you know what I mean. That there's a lot to unfold there, brother. There's a lot to unfold there, brother. You know, at least we got Cameron shouting it out. You know what I mean? So we got a lot. We got a lot. We got a lot to unravel.
It is what it is, man. Yeah, 100%. 100%.